Hello, my name is Pedro Mora, and I'm here with Mr. Martin Zlotnik as Commissioner for the Vancouver Parks Board. You went to the City Hall, and you were requesting something for the Parks Board. Can you explain a little bit of what your request was?
Pedro, thank you very much. Yes, the Park Board is very concerned about the proposed budget reduction of our request for funds this year. And the budget that the request is that we cut $440,000, actually $556,000 out of our budget, but there's a particular $440,000 that we just don't see that we have any more room to cut. Our budget has been cut over the last 10 years by $2.8 million. And
how many years?
Over the last 10 years. So when you look at what we do as far as operations are concerned, we've not had an increase in our budget except for wage increases that the city negotiates on our behalf, and also for the additional parks and increase in community center facilities. So we've been doing more with less, which is not a very good situation for the Park Board to find itself in.
Just for those who don't know exactly, how much is the budget for the Parks Board, and what's the proportion from the total budget of the city? Do you know?
I can't tell you exactly what the proportion of the total budget from the city is, but the Park Board's budget is made up of two factors. One is that the budget this year for 2007 is about $99 million, of which about $55 million is tax supported, in other words, comes from the city. The other amount of money comes from initiatives that we have, such as running golf courses, marinas, licensees, restaurants that pay us rent, etc. So we have $35 million or close to $40 million in actual revenue that we manage ourselves. I think the amount is closer to $60 million the city gives us, but it's in that neighborhood.
So about 60% comes from the city and about 40%
comes from the city. That's right. They cut our budget last year by close to $500,000 last year.
Similar to this time.
Yeah, I mean, so it doesn't give us any room to improve any services. As a matter of fact, we have had to cut back services incrementally over a period of time for the last 10 years because we haven't had any increase in our budget other than what we generate ourselves.
Do you think that this cutting down on services has any connection with the $5 million that the city is, or the Olympics are requesting from the city?
Well, we're told that it doesn't, but I don't know where they're getting the $5 million from the city. It isn't built into the city's budget this year, so they're looking to get it somewhere else. To be honest with you, I don't know where the somewhere else is.
Other than the cuts here and there.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think that's coming from cuts. It may be that they're going to take some money from the Property Endowment Fund. Pedro, I don't actually know, okay? I'd just be guessing.
So you're not going to blame the Olympics here for the cuts in the Parks Board?
No.
Okay. You're happy to for the city to give the $5 million to the Olympics?
Well, they're actually not going to give the money to the Olympics. The money that they are requesting, which I don't necessarily agree with, is for the city to spend on Olympic-related things, hosting people, encouraging businesses to come to Vancouver. It's a fund that's there, which, frankly, I don't think the city needs. I think that they could get the partners from the business community and elsewhere to help them do the things that they feel that they need to do.
The police, Vancouver Police is also asking for about $2 million more in their budget. Do you think that they should have that too?
Well, I think that the police, I don't want to really get into a debate about the police, but I think that realistically, I think that they should give the police a little bit less and make sure our budget's okay.
Parks are a priority to you?
Well, that's my job. I think people care about parks. Now, Stanley Park is our big park. It's the sort of biggest thing that we have that creates tourism in Vancouver. But I mean, I think people want to see the grass cut in an orderly fashion. They want the city to be green. They don't want us to sort of let things just fall apart. And here we are with the Olympics coming. Now, granted, the Olympics are, the good thing about it is the dead of winter, so you don't see as much of the deferred maintenance that we would do otherwise in the city if we don't get the money. But having said that, I mean, I think that we have to come up with a better system of making sure that we look after all our facilities, particularly our parks and recreation facilities, so that they aren't falling apart.
So what is that, if the City Hall doesn't provide with this $500,000 this year, how would the Parks Board be affected?
Well, I think that, we would have to cut back.
For instance, what?
Well, some of the maintenance of the parks, cutting the grass. Instead of cutting them every 7 days, we might cut them every day, 8 days. On boulevards, where we cut them, every 3 weeks, we might cut them once a month. And with respect to, providing facilities being open, we might cut them back. I think one of the things we said, we might cut them back by a day and a half a year per facility, okay? So, it's not a huge incremental change. But the problem we've got is that we've had to do this now for 10 years, and there's just no room left in the system. And we're already charging people a lot of money to use our facilities, our marinas, our restaurants, our golf courses, our skating rinks, and people are paying, there's no room left to ask them to pay more.
So every time we cut a day off or an employee less, besides the clients suffering the lack of that service, also people that are working and earning that money are the ones who are going to really be paying for the budget cut, isn't it?
Well, that certainly could be one of the implications, but our goal would be not to make cuts that would actually change the amount of people and the amount of hours that our staff work. But last year we did make some cuts last year that impacted the way in which the community centers, or the number of hours the community centers had somebody on their front desk, information, etc., which was, hard for the community centers because they had to get more volunteers to do more work. So it's not an easy exercise.
So the cuts do affect somebody.
Yes, they're going to affect somebody.
Yeah. If you close for one day, those people are not going to earn that money on that day.
That's possible.
All right.
We're not actually closing them for a day. We're going to reduce their hours, okay? And as a matter of fact, I mean, it has the same effect.
Yeah, but some people will lose that wage.
It's possible, yeah.
Right. If there's a choice between increasing the Economic Development Commission or the Parks Board, which one would you choose?
That wouldn't be my choice. I mean, I'd find the money somewhere else.
As a Parks Commissioner, you mean?
Well, I can't do it as a park commissioner, but I would hope the city, would make a decision somewhere else. Maybe only hire 61 police officers rather than 65, or whatever it is that they need to do. Deferred a project that the city has that they want to do, which really, frankly, may or may not be important today, and maybe just as they can manage it just as well in a few years.
All right. Have you heard of a website called nowpolling.ca? We have about 100 questions there, and some of the questions there are specifically about having community centers either in the present condition that people pay as they can, and or having them free. Have you been there? Have you seen it?
No, I haven't, no.
Well, I'll recommend you to go to nowpolling.ca and look at the questions there.
Nowpolling.ca, that's okay.
Yeah, and we have questions there about police budget,
Yeah.
The Vancouver Economic Development, the Parks Board,
Yeah.
community centers, and all that. So I encourage you to go and register your vote there.
Well, nowpolling.ca.
.ca.
Well, I'll do that.
Well, Martin, thank you very much for your time.
Well, thank you,
It's been a
Pedro.
pleasure.
It's always good to talk about the park board.
I hope you get the $500,000 in your budget.